Yo, how y'all doing? How y'all feeling? This is a part 2 talking about the subconscious mind, dealing with the processes and what happens when you meditate, or when you go through experiences, or when you dream, or when you go into these different realms. There's something that goes on inside your body. Um, it's a quick, slow process. And I think it's important for some to find out what happens who's interested on such a thing that happens inside your body. Um, because I myself was very interested, you know. I myself, excuse me, I like the rain. It's it's raining outside a little bit. Hope that don't bother you too much, but I will speak loud enough so you could hear. Um, Excuse me for a second. So, the last time we was talking about tryptophan, serotonin, melatonin, pinoline, and the DMT factors. The DMT factors and how it correlates to the glands inside your brain. We are still talking about that off the Montauk Chia literature dealing with the meditating in darkness. Talking about how darkness influences the brain and the processes. It would be a lot. However, you could always hit the rewind button when you hear this information. I'll be reading out the literature. I got the literature this time. Last time it was a blackout version because it was fitting for me. So now I'm gonna get into talking about the literature out of Mr. Chia. This particular one is called As Above, So Below. There's a point in the sky, and mind you, all this is talking about you. Everything that I'm saying in these sentences that's correlating to this information, or the reference to where I'm getting it from, is talking about you. The reference is important. I will be going over particular words before I get into certain paragraphs so you can have a guide or understanding when you go back over the film. But know that all this is talk about you, an alchemical process that happens on a small and large scale, inner and outer, within you. So there's one point in the sky around which all other constellations revolve, the north, which is the North Point star, or the North Star Point. The North Star is fixed, stationary, motionless. Taoists regard it as the center, the source of the universe, the nothingness, or the Wu Chi. The North Star is the gateway to heaven. In the Tao, the body is a microcosm of the universe. All is in you. As above, so below. Whatever happens up there happens down here. Hence, the physical body is marked with grid lines of energy and meridians of light around a center. The center is called the Tantien, or field of energy. And in this figure, or this picture I'm about to show you, it says the universal connections. We are connected to the Mother Earth below and to the heavens above. Big Dipper and North Star are gateways to immortal life. Now on page 6. So this is what they're talking about right here. This is what they're talking about. So I'm turning this page here. Now, there's certain things before I read it that we should take a close look at. So, for example, it'll be talking about a few things like the Big Dipper. The Big Dipper, also known as the Ursa Major. It also has a Ursa Minor. So when you're looking up in the sky, the Big Dipper is up in the sky. The Big Dipper is also in your brain. That is the correspondence. Ursa Minor, Major. It also is in the shape. When you look it up, it will be in the shape of a polar bear or a great bear, the Ursa Major. The Big Dipper is located in the second half of the bear. Okay, it's within and without when you look at the picture. It's the figure inside of the polar bear shape. And that shape, which is that stars, will be shape of what they call the Great Cup, the shape of a great cup, or they also call it, aka the big and little hand on, hand on the clock, the big and little hand on the clock. Um, the Big Dipper is also called Polaris, or is also correlated with Polaris. It has seven stars. Mind you, all this is in your brain. This is the information our ancestors left us as a reminder. Okay, we're talking about the subconscious mind and the processes and things that correlate, and everything connects. Okay, so the Polaris is connected. The Big Dipper is the 7-star constellation. We talk about constellation. The Big Dipper is the 7-star constellation, also known as the Great Bear. And also known as the Great Bear, outside of that, it's called Draco, or the Draco constellation, or the Dragoon, or the shape of a dragon, or a Hydra figure, or Hydra dragon. It's in a movie called The League of Extraordinary Men, and they talk about it also in some Captain America movies when they speak on Hydra. The individual they dealing with is Hydra. It also means in elemental wise, or gases wise, periodic table wise, hydrogen, and also the another serpent, the serpent within you. So these are the different, has mythologies, ideologies, different correlations, and this is a big polarity. They say it rules polarity. That's why it's called polar bear, and polar bear is a powerful animal for where it resides in. And it also deals with the North Star, because at the end of the star, at the end of the cup shape that the star is, a cup shape, the Great Cup, at the end of the cup, or rather the first 2 stars at the end, it points upwards to the North Star. The North Star lives within you. Polaris is the center of the universe, like your pineal gland, which is in your brain. All this is important because it involves application, but you're knowing what to do step by step, and you're knowing what's going on, so it won't be no hocus pocus. Pineal gland is in the brain. Polaris is the center, or aka the galaxy. The galaxy spins around Polaris. Now, with all these things being said, remember the North Star. The North Star is polarity, or the clock itself. The Big Dipper was the big and little hand. Remember all these things. If you can't, it's okay. Just rewind it back. And I explain about the Tentian and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So when you get into the darkness meditation, or when you get into types of meditation, it's okay to go in the closet. It's okay to go in a dark place. It's okay to be inside the car. It's okay to be in whatever element or non-element. Okay? It's also okay, but we talking about the cave. We talking about the darkness. The importance of no light. The importance I'll give you a good reference for that, which speaks on the importance of having no light, to be fearless. Darkness is your friend. Darkness is love, etc. It gives a whole lot of different things. It's by a guy I've been studying under for a number of years, very advanced. His name is Nityananda, or Nithyananda. Nityananda. I guess that's how you say it. However, when you talk about the central axis, you will also hear about the central axis. And as a reference, I can give you things that you're going to come across, but it's important to follow the breadcrumbs. And as the breadcrumbs, I leave the clues which they have for us, if I can make way of it and point you in the right direction of a reference to follow your own path. But these are the importance of small definitions that I must explain, because you run across these words like the pole star inside of you. It's a metaphysical and occult system, represents a guiding principle, or the navigator that's aligned within you. When it's applied to anatomy, they say it's connected to the crown area and the spine and the pineal. It's associated with a higher awareness within you. Also aligned with a cosmic force, and its symbolism is pretty much like a powerful, unwavering servant for you, a point in the sky, as in the sky, as within you. Also, we'll be running across a word called the cauldron. The cauldron within us, or its metaphysical significance, deals with transformation, or the cauldron. When you break the word down, always deal with metaphysical and occult. The hera, or the center energy, like the heart or the sacral chakra, the cauldron represents also a multitude of different internal vessels within you, nurtured and transformed. There are various forms, etc. Deals with interconnectedness, emotions, spiritual emotion, spirit body, the sacred space within you, the unfoldment. Okay? You all right? So those are also two of the words you be dealing with. I'm explaining these words before I read the paragraph, because the paragraph would be about you and its processes. So I'm explaining a little bit about that. The central axis will talk about the pathway of energy, the balance or correlation between the material and spirit world, your core, your base, your spine center, your structure, etc. Your central axis. All information, usually sometime they say when it's being channeled, I know at least one of the ways is through the Polaris, or that space within you, microcosm, or that clusters of stars. Polaris, they say, is a cluster of stars that brings energy to you. When you talk about the 7 constellations or the 7 stars, talk about the 7 chakras, micro, macrocosm. Micro is us, macro is there, and also within and also within out. Now we learning about this because we're also learning about the activation of this whole galactic, cosmic, earthly Big Dipper, the Big Dipper, that the Little Dipper, all this, all the lovely things behind it, the constellation, the Great Bear. I also will give mention the technique, 2 techniques within this too, that deals with constellation technique for transformation. The darkness meditation technique is with the guy Nithyamanda, and they'll say darkness meditation when you look it up on a tube, and he gives a lot of explanation and a few good applications or techniques as far as what I'm talking about. So without further ado, I will read this out of literature, out of the Montauk Chia literature, dealing with the meditation, dealing with darkness, dealing with etc. The idea of a central axis, the pole star in the firmament and cauldron in the body, is the central tenet in the Taoist philosophy and alchemical practice. To get to the center of the body, over the Tien. To get to the center of the heavens, enter through the North Star. Both are doorways to the heart of the true Tao, the Wu Qi, from which both heaven and earth are born. The inner alchemy practice, the inner alchemy practice of the universal Tao fuses the body's energy to give birth to a spiritual embryo capable of maturing into a deathless existence and flight inward, beyond time and space, to the source. That has to do with also the movie Dune, when Man took the drink and they said males couldn't do it, they can't pass it, they will have to go through space and time and death and come back reborn. This happens in her womb. So the darkness meditation releases us from the bonds of earth, no longer controlled by the rotating power of the earth, the sun, and the moon. The organs vibrate in unison with spiritual stars, the gates of heaven. The North Star, unmoving and unwavering in space, is the center, the Wu Qi, animating emanating violet rays, the color, not violet, throughout the galaxy, affecting every living cell or of nature on our planet. The Big Dipper gathers all the violet rays and all the light from the universe. Let me stop. Dang, your boy's sweating a little bit. And emanates the light as an infrared radiant. The emanation of infrared light of the Big Dipper combined with violet rays, y'all know what color that is if you don't look it up, of the North Star, has a positive nurturing effect upon the bodies and minds of those who know how to access it, which the technique will be given in a moment. Taoists believe that the violet stars, the Big Dipper, and other constellations from the gates of the heaven, all living things must pass through these gates to return to the source of origin, the Wu Chi, which is the state of oneness with Tao. The darkness environment activates the glands of the crystal palace. The crystal palace is this. This is what they call the crystal palace, okay? These particular glands within you, all right? And this is the crystal palace. Okay, Taoists believe the Big Dipper and other constellations from the gates of heaven, all living things must pass through these gates to return to their origin, the Wu Chi, which is the state of oneness in Tao. The emanation of infrared red light to the Big Dipper, okay? Its color is violet. It's a nurturing effect, all right? The darkness environment activates the glands of the crystal palace, actualizing their higher powers, providing the way back to the original source. When the crystal palace is open, it becomes illuminated like millions of shining crystals. It can give and receive light and awaken our inner knowledge and deepest potentials. It receives light and knowledge from the universe and reflects it to the various organs and glands to enhance them. It reflects it to the various organs and glands to enhance them. It receives light. The pineal gland helps us to overcome death by taking in external forces and combining them with sexual energy. And the original forces and combining them with sexual energy to form the mortal body, or longevity, or vitality. With this body, we can leave the physical body before final transition, when death occurs. By focusing on the tip of the crystal palace, the pineal gland, and the back of the crown, we can project ourselves to the North Pole or North Star as we attract its emanations. Particular color, violet. The pineal as yang is balanced by the yin of the hypothalamus gland. Taoists regard this point, as many other cultures, as the main switch for the universal force. When the spirit awakens, it resides in the hypothalamus. When the pineal and hypothalamus are connected, they give out a powerful balance force. And it says this as a technique. Again, it says this as a technique because the pineal gland has a close connection to the North Star, which is that, receiving its emanation or spectrum of colors. So the technique is by focusing on this center and picturing the 7 stars of the Big Dipper, which I talked about, and you know where to look it up. You can access the constellation's energy by visualizing, imagining intensely, which emanates from the crown as a ray of red light in figure 5, as it shows here. Okay? In figure 5. So that's how you know I ain't lying about the technique. I ain't make it up. That's what it say. That's the main man said, Mr. Chia. So powerful technique. It has happened to me on accident when I was maybe in 2000. Oh man, 2006, when I first had 1,000 loaves experience. But I realized the way it happens was through the process of what they was talking about. So that's when I went through my first, real spiritual experience. But it propelled me. It gave me a whole lot of information. Sort of like the movie Highlander when they go against each other and downloads come off of gaining the experience or soul list from the other individual in the immortal game. So it was an upgrade or a sudden type of quickening. So yes, that was all for that as far as the information. But we must know all this is about us. All this is very important because you're dealing with the law of correspondence, the law of duality. You're dealing with the law of microcosm and macrocosm. And when you're doing magic, things also happen inside of you. You know, when you're doing, I know we don't think about it, just be like, I'm finna do this magic, I'm finna get this money, I'm finna do some, you know, whatever you need to do, protection magic. But there is a process that takes place. There's a process that takes place. There's a process that takes place. And when that process takes place, it's a beautiful thing. And the process is being shown here. The tryptophan, serotonin, the melatonin, the phenotine, how it goes in from, you know, dealing with the DMT. Showing you basically from step by step that is these things happening inside you through darkness. The darkness is nothing to be afraid of. Darkness is the transformation stage or the womb stage. See what I'm saying? The darkness is your friend. It's the area in which we must all go through. So this all correlates, dealing with the subconscious mind and dealing with this conversation deals with the sexual tantrum. It also deals with the shadow work. It also deals with the initial DNA work that I was talking about. And I'm just a reference because as you can see, all this is in depth. So I urge you to take notes and record and give your own perspective and perception on it. And if you feel like this is something you can get into, cool. And when you want to practice it, that's okay. Studying it, study as long as you want. You know, save yourself. We all know and see the things that's going on. However, we might as well get into, hey, you know, a quickie is okay and all that. But let's learn about the sacred art behind making love and how to produce something different out the womb. And fellas, to understand that 25% of the work as far as procreation, conversation, and 75% of the work is on her part. So a lot of things we have to get right, but it's for a small percentage. For in the meantime, we just learning. I don't know it all. I told y'all, I'm the baby at this thing. But I really am passionate. So this is the part 2 as far as dealing with the subconscious mind information and the process that happens inside you and your anatomy, right inside your brain, man. Right inside your brain. I don't care if you're daydreaming, night dreaming, or whatever, you know. And when I went through this process, when I went through that feeling, you know, and it could be accessed in all type of ways, you know, but I'm talking about the process, the function, to let you know it's not fake. I gave you a technique to practice as far as what they call star constellation technique. You know the literature I'm getting it from. I'm breaking it down as far as definition wise, as far as these things inside you. We can all practice and all in due time whenever you're ready. Don't procrastinate too long. I'll tell you one thing, man. Be you. Do the best you can out here. My name is Reference, and that's all that I could be. Self-love is key, and let's start supporting each other, all right? Peace and love. One.